Hello, hello. There we go. Happy Thursday, everyone. I hope that you're doing wonderful. So, today we're coming on to talk about the difference between a coach and an assistant. We're discussing this conversation because I truly believe that I have some insight that will help entrepreneurs to be more productive and more successful. And the specific, I would say, core focus of this insight is understanding the services that you are wanting, the services that you are able to afford, and the services that you are not needing. I think that those are extremely important as entrepreneurs. A lot of times we don't know what services we're wanting. We just know we need change, or we just know we want to elevate one area of our business, but we don't necessarily know how, right? That's what you're hiring someone to do. That's why what I would recommend is sitting down with someone in a consult, either a consultation or going to their website. You don't even have to do a whole consultation. You can request a contract, you can request an estimate, you can request just insight on what all you would receive depending on the business. Wherever you need to go, you're going to go to their contact information or whatever form that they have to find out what all they provide. After you get that information, you are going to decide on if that's what you are needing. But today, specifically, we're talking about the difference between a coach and an assistant. Because what I'm seeing is that I see a lot of entrepreneurs that are purchasing coaching services, but you are wanting an assistant. That's what you're wanting. Okay. A coach, a consultant, they're here to provide that information for you. They're here to, give you some motivating insight. They're here to amp it up a bit. They're here to help you with that process of growing and elevating and giving you business insight and advice, right? Um, an assistant is here to assist you and do work for you. There's a difference. And sometimes I see entrepreneurs that are wanting assistant work, but they're purchasing coaching services. As your coach, as your consultant, I highly, highly am invested in seeing you elevate and seeing you grow. But I would be lying if I said that your coach or your assistant is responsible for doing your work for you, is responsible for making you do the things that you know you need to do for your business, is responsible for reminding you to hold yourself accountable, is responsible for writing down your notes. That is not your coach's or consultant's responsibility. Now, they may have note paper, they may have information for you, bullet points and things like that. But you need to have a notebook prepared. Get ready to take those notes. Get ready to do whatever it takes to see your business grow. Have an alarm clock set. There is a difference between having or hiring a coach or a consultant versus an assistant. And once you understand that difference, you're going to be able to decide which one you're wanting more. If you want someone to do all the work for you because you just don't feel like doing it, I don't want to take notes. I don't want to write these down. Of course, you do have your notes that you can record something and then listen back to it. But you can also hire someone to take notes. You can hire an AI assistant. There's plenty of ways that you can hire an assistant to do the things for you that you don't feel like doing. But hiring a business coach is not a one size fit all for solving all of your business problems, because coaching and consulting is one area of your business. But if you're hiring them because you're expecting or you're desiring that they are going to fulfill all other areas, such as you taking initiative, you doing the work, you taking the notes, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be setting yourself up for failure, because that is not what a coach or consultant is here to do. They're not here to do that. I sat down with an individual one time, this was years ago, where we were talking about their brand, their information. I handed over their information to them for their business, for something that I had designed and done for them. They came back and was like, "Hey, what's that information?" It's not my responsibility to track the information for your business. That's not what this contract entails. This contract entails me completing something and handing it over to you. That's not my responsibility. And you shouldn't want that to be someone else's responsibility, because this is your business. You got to take ownership of your business. Other people are not responsible for holding you accountable to doing things, or for tracking information, or for taking notes, or for being organized, or for taking seriously the time that you paid for to sit down and grow your business. So you got to take that concept and run with it, because when you do, you're going to take ownership of your business in a way that you never have before, and you're going to unlock success that's been waiting to be unlocked and unleashed. It just hadn't been yet because you didn't realize that you were the catalyst all along. So that's the first layer of this. The second layer is, if you don't want to take care of that, or you don't want to track any of that, you don't want to do any of that, that's possible. I'm never going to sit here and tell someone that it's not possible, because there's many ways to do a lot of business life. So if you don't want to do it, You can hire, like I said, an AI assistant, a real assistant, a virtual assistant. You can hire these people, these individuals, these computers, whatever they are that you choose, but you can hire them to do the work for you. But if that's not what you hired and that's not what you purchased, you cannot be sitting and expecting and waiting and entitled to someone being your assistant when that is not the service that you purchased. That service can be expensive when coming from a real person. And when we are able to be real with ourselves about what we are needing and what we really want, we're going to see the best outcome. So if you know deep down in your heart you really don't want to do the work, like, I want this business, but I don't feel like doing this work. I don't want to take notes and I don't want to keep track of this. I don't want this responsibility. If that's really how you feel, but you do want to run the business, then that means you don't need a coach. You don't need a consultant. You need a business manager. You need a business manager. Coaches and consultants, that can come later if you're wanting to add that to the deal. But you need someone to manage your entire business, or you need someone to be your assistant. Okay? That's what you need. That's what you're looking for. But you have to be honest with yourself first, because you see a lot of times we're not honest with ourselves in that process. We say things like, I'm ready to do whatever it takes because I want to grow this. You might want to grow this, but you are not ready to do whatever it takes because you mentally are drained or tired or don't feel like doing some of the things that it takes to do. So be honest with yourself, say what you want and say how you want it so you can go find the right service to assist you with getting there. I want this business, but I don't really feel like doing the work. I need someone to do it for me. Now you're going to be directed to a business manager or a assistant, a virtual assistant that is responsible for those things. That's how you're going to get there. But you have to be aware of what you are truly wanting and needing, and you have to be aware of your own personal drive and how driven you are to see this successfully happen. So that is the difference between a coach and an assistant or a business manager. And it is okay if you want both. It is okay if you can't afford one yet, but you're going to work towards it. That's okay. But what's important here is that we are honest about what they are, so that when you're stepping into a room to sit down at a consultation, you are not expecting someone to do assistant work for you. That's not how that goes. If we sit down at a meeting and I ask you to pull up the last conversation that we had and you don't have your own notes of tracking your business, what are we doing? This is a mutual thing. I may have notes on the page, but you're supposed to be a part of this process. You're not just sitting back, and wind blowing in the hair while I'm driving this thing. That's not coaching. That's not consulting. You are driving. Okay. And you have someone sitting next to you that is telling you the directions on where to go, but you are driving. It's not them driving. So once we understand that, you're going to see more success in your transactions in business because you're going to be looking for the right things. You need an assistant, you're looking for an assistant. You're not looking for a coach or a consultant. You need a business manager, you're looking for a business manager. You can, put your funds where they need to go. But just keep in mind that the price is going to be different. You have to do your research. Don't get lazy and just pick somebody simply because you don't want to do it. You're going to have to do the work until you find the right person. And when you find the right person, you place them in charge of that, and you no longer have to do that because you have now delegated. That is an option. That is very much possible. But to walk into consultations or coaching sessions and think that people are supposed to keep notes for you, people are supposed to remind you to do your job, people are supposed to track the information that they already provided for you. Once you get it, write it down, put it on a notepad. They are not driving. You are driving. They are giving you the insight. What you do with it is up to you. That is the difference. So have that level of accountability. And yes, sometimes hearing these kind of things, it might feel a little, shaky, but the reality is that the only way you're going to see true success and growth is when you start to take ownership of the fact that this is your business, and how it runs is based solely off of the actions that you take. It's your brand. There's no one else to point to and say it's their fault. You can't, because you chose to lead. You chose to follow that person in there. You chose to research or not research that person. You chose to purchase or not purchase that service. This is your decisions all coming out to play. That is the scary part of entrepreneurship. It's the reason why a lot of people sometimes don't do it, because they know once you step into that arena, this is your baby and it is your responsibility and it's nobody else's. And once you know that and you truly believe it, the things that you're going to be able to accomplish, I can't even list. I couldn't even sit here and fathom or create. There's so many things you can accomplish when you take ownership of your decisions and of your business. So that is the message of the day. I hope it helps somebody in entrepreneurship who maybe has been frustrated lately and feeling like they're tired. Maybe you need to find the right type of help for what it is you're wanting. If you're tired and you don't want to do that work, find an assistant, get you a virtual assistant. Maybe you're doing the work, but you just need, more guidance and consulting. Get you a coach or a consultant. But know exactly what it is you need and know exactly how hard you want to work for it and what you are willing to do and what you're not willing to do so that you can get the right help. But it all starts with self awareness and taking accountability and taking ownership. That's when you're going to see the true growth in your business and in your life. Talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.